LCC for short, and is also about the size of a U.S. aircraft carrier and capable of transporting approximately 2 million barrels of oil. At approximately 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time, U.S. military forces and law enforcement forces also went to the ship via rotary wing platforms, fast roped onto her deck, and secured her. After the ship was secured, a U.S. Navy control team embarked aboard the Tiffany, and assumed control of the ship at 4 a.m. Eastern Time on April 21st. A Navy control team is control of a sea ship in order to secure the crew, the cargo, and the vessel, and disposition of that first vessel is still pending. The next interdiction occurred on Wednesday, this past expand the conflict by aggression against its neighbors and its attacks on global shipping through the Strait. To date, Iran has attacked 5 merchant vessels, seized 2 of them that were attempting to transit the Strait, and these include ships that Iran itself had cleared to proceed. Now, as I always do, I want to honor members of the Joint Force. Today, I want to highlight and proudly describe the essential role of our intelligence enterprise and the role that they play in conducting our military operations. The totality of their work is the culmination of days, months, and in many cases, years of work by our uniformed and civilian intelligence professionals. We have been able to do the work that we are ordered to do because America's intelligence force, including our core collectors and analysts, have spent decades searching for every loose thread. From the determination of a particular intelligence requirement to that piece of intelligence being collected in the field by a military or interagency case officer, to the rigorous analysis that goes into reporting on that finding, those team members spend their careers answering the incredibly important questions that we must attempt to answer before, during, and after operations. They live in the enemy's mind. Normally located behind the green door, behind the vault door, in dark, windowless rooms across the world, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, are world-class intel members from DIA, our service intelligence components, NSA, NGA, CIA, NRO, and in the case of the operations that I've just described, the Office of Naval Intelligence, all work tirelessly to sift through the mountains of collected information using tools, tactics, techniques, and procedures that I'm not going to discuss today. The sun never sets on these world-class professionals, and their goal is every minute of every day to be on the account. And they know the enemy. They know their combat capability, their weapons, their industrial and economic systems, and they know their leaders pattern of life, where they go, what they think, and what they do. Thanks to their work, we know are wrong, and it is an incredible work that they do. Again, none of our operations that we've conducted during my time in this job could have been done without the service of these intelligence professionals. And the distance from those core collectors and those analysts to those Patriot crews who are defending U.S. forces forward or the fighter pilots is incredibly small. Every single day, as their motto says, they are committed to excellence in the defense of the nation and to securing the future, and they're doing the work of the nation. Before I close, as I do every time, I want to highlight and remember our fallen. Today, I want to highlight the 63 victims of the terrorist bombing of the U.S. Embassy in Beirut, which occurred 43 years ago, just a few days ago, on April 18, 1983. At that time, this was the deadliest attack on a U.S. diplomatic mission, and this was the first attack conducted by Iranian-backed forces on Americans. The suicide bomber detonated a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device out in front of the embassy, killing 63 innocent people, including 32 Lebanese, 14 visitors, and 17 Americans. And among those lost, members of the Joint Force to include 3 Army soldiers and 1 United States Marine. We remember their names: Sergeant First Class Richard Twine, Staff Sergeant Ben Maxwell, Staff Sergeant Mark Salazar, and United States Marine Corporal Vincent McMaw. Today we remember them. We carry on their memory and the memory of all our fallen, and remain grateful for their sacrifice and that of their families who continue to show us what courage looks like. As we continue to press forward and maintain these operations, the Secretary, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and I are deeply humbled by the spirit, tenacity, and commitment and grit of the 2.8 million members of our Joint Force. The Secretary and I thank every member of the Joint Force engaged in this operation, every warrior who remains deployed or who is supporting from here at home. Thank you to, and thank you to your families. Sure, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll take a few questions.
Caffeine. Arriving today with Amazon Prime. What's off your mind? So now you can worry about what was that been in there?
Thank you. In your estimation, have there been increased or decreased instances of Iranian vessels either approaching or trying to breach the blockade the longer it is in effect? And another question about the mine threat. Has the mine threat been neutralized enough to facilitate freer flow in the straits?
Well, to the second question, first of all, we are seeing vessels transit. There are paths that are open. And part of what the president is threatening is ensuring if there's attempts to recklessly and irresponsibly lay more mines, we're going to deal with that. It's a violation of the ceasefire. So transit is occurring, much more limited than anybody would like to see, and with more risk than people would like to see. But that's because Iran is doing irresponsible things with small, fast boats, crafts, like I said, with weapons on them. These are commercial ships, and in some cases, cruise ships that came through being threatened by these. So as far as breaching the blockade, it's been a pretty consistent. There were a number of ships at the beginning. Then you had the interdiction that the chairman described, where we took out the engine room and disabled that ship. I think that sent a very clear sign that this is not a fake blockade. This is a real, full blockade. We'll use up to and including lethal force if necessary. And that stopped, and other ships have taken note of that. So any ship that have attempted, there's been levels of escalation, but none that far, and they've turned around. Absolutely. Yes.
Good morning, Mr. Secretary, Mr. Chairman. David Zillion. I'd like to follow up on Alexandra's question. How big are these mine-laying boats? Can they be achieved from fast boats? And I want to follow up my last week question about as jet fuel stocks in Europe reportedly are only about 6 weeks left. They get most of their jet fuel from the Gulf. Have any European countries reached out to assist in cordoning off the strait and participating in escorts?
I know there's a lot of talks. You saw I would call it a silly conference in Europe last week where they got together and talking about maybe doing something eventually when things are done. Those are not serious efforts yet. We would welcome that. We would welcome a serious European effort to do something about this strait and this passage, considering it's their energy capabilities that are most at stake. I think it's a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call for countries around the world. Either you have capabilities or you don't. Otherwise, you're at the behest of a country like Iran, and the only country that can do something about it is the United States military. You want to talk about the mines and the small crafts?
They have a variety of smaller Boston whaler-sized boats. We have forces up there deterring and preventing them from continuing to do that. We'll continue to do so pursuant to the orders of the Secretary of the President.
Reckless fighting like that is a violation of reckless fighting and very unwise to do. Absolutely.
So, Pope Leo has made some strident comments about the war in Iran, and the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops recently put out a statement suggesting that the war does not fulfill the requirements of just war theory. And I wondered if the Pentagon had thought about this war against the terrorist regime in Iran in terms of the framework of a just war, and if either one of you could talk about that. And then just my second question would be, the Pentagon recently, this week, gave well-deserved award upgrades to the members of Gulf Company 2-1 Marines who served at HKI and Abbey Gate during the withdrawal and evacuation. I wonder if you, Mr. Secretary, could speak a little bit about that and maybe give us a little bit more in terms of what to expect from this Afghanistan review in terms of further proper recognition and proper accountability.
On the first question, Pope's going to do his thing, that's fine. We know what our mission is. We know what authority we have. We're very clear about that. We follow that. The orders of the president, we've got lawyers all over the place looking at what we're doing and why we're doing it and giving us every authority necessary under the Constitution and under our laws to execute it. So we feel very confident across the spectrum about what we're doing and why we're doing it and the legal justification that we're following in order to do it. You mentioned the Marines at Abbey Gate. And what we've undertaken at this department is a historic Afghanistan review. So we have, over the course of months, reviewed what happened leading up to and including the events at Abbey Gate and the disastrous withdrawal in Afghanistan. There's never actually been a full accounting in this department of the decisions that were made. There's been sort of papered over congressional attempts, but never a real deep dive where we brought everybody in to talk about what happened and why it happened. That has happened. That review will come later this summer, and I think you'll find it to be probably the most comprehensive review this department has ever done about a single series of events. And it's because the cascading effect of what Joe Biden did in abandoning that mission the way that he did, and that disastrous withdrawal had ripple effects for our military, for our country, and for the world. That's why reestablishing deterrence is one of the core pillars of what we've been doing at the War Department, because the world looked at that disaster and made choices. Vladimir Putin made choices. Hamas made choices and saw that America wouldn't do anything about it. Putin shot at ships. They made choices because Joe Biden and his administration were seen as feckless and weak. And that withdrawal was a part of what the world saw. People hanging to planes as we fled. That deserves a full accounting, which is exactly what we're doing. Sean Parnell, our chief spokesman, one of my senior advisors, has been leading that effort, getting to the bottom of it. And one of the revelations was that those Marines at Abbey Gate who showed courage, who were out there exposed, knew there was a threat, nebulous mission, the only gate that's open, did not receive the kind of proper recognition they should have for their heroism. So one of the early results of this Afghan review is to ensure they get the due recognition and award they deserve for the heroism and courage they showed at that gate. Despite the bad decisions of this building and that administration, those Marines acted heroically, and we're going to recognize them for that. Sure, thank you. Yeah, right here.
Hello. Michael Casey with O'Keefe Media Group. Earlier this week, James O'Keefe published a story on Department of Army Nuclear Chief Andrew Hugg, who revealed top secret national security information to a stranger he met on a dating app. Will you defer Mr. Hugg's for termination and prosecution?
Yeah, you won't work hearing.
given the revelations, will
Hello.
changes be made to the current anti-espionage training for all Department of War employees now, given this?
Well, we're always on the lookout for CI threats, any internal threats, anyone talking out of school about things they should not. We take leaking very seriously here, informally or formally, which is why some of the reporting done by some of the people in here is incredibly problematic. They're willing to publish things based on classified information that would potentially harm those in harm's way, and we think them doing so is incredibly irresponsible and unpatriotic. And it would encourage members of the press to think twice about the lives that are affected when they publish things in their publications like the New York Times. Yes, right here.
What does support feel like? It's knowing
Hello.
that we're
Wait a minute, I'm just changing the background. Hello. I'm changing the background.
Right here.
Ryan Morgan with the Epic Times. Earlier this week, on that topic, there was a report, I believe, with the Washington Post that the Pentagon had briefed Congress that it could take up to 6 months to fully sweep the Strait of Hormuz for mines. I was wondering if you could comment a little bit more on the specifics of the timeline, the range of time that it could take, and then just a general idea of how many mines have been placed.
We would not speculate on a timeline. I saw that report. It was based on, again, another leak from a closed-door session, which was supposed to be classified, and apparently, allegedly, that was something that was said about we feel confident in our ability in the correct period of time to clear any mines that we identify. And would encourage other countries to be a part of such an effort as well, but we're tracking that very closely. Mr. Chairman, do you want to add anything to that?
No, sir. I think
Okay.
you covered it.
Right here, new members of our press corps here.
Jacob Wasserman with TMZ DC. We have two questions. I'm going to ask the first, my colleague will ask the second. You know, I've heard you talk a lot about
We'll see.
Sorry?
We'll see.
I've heard you talk a lot about bombing people and places. And when you give these orders to carry out this extreme level of violence, what's going through your mind and your body? Do you have like an adrenaline rush? Are you scared? Do you feel like you're on a power trip? Just walk us through and paint us a picture of what it feels like mentally and
Hi, Third, you're right.
TMZ question. My only thought process is to ensure that our warfighters have everything they need to be successful, defeat and destroy the enemy, and they come home. That was the most TMZ question. I want them to feel empowered, to have every authority they need within our rules and within our law to bring maximum violence to the enemy. Because war is violent, war requires doing difficult things, but I want our people to feel empowered, so it's our guys that come home and their guys that do not. Sure, I'll give you one chance.
Charlie Cotton from TMZ DC. You changed the Department of Defense to the Department of War. Would you consider changing the name again to the Department of Peace, since that's what we're all after?
Well, that's the pursuit. It's a great question, actually. You go from defense to war because you want to be proactive about peace through strength. And really, I gave a speech in front of generals about what the ethos of the War Department is all about, because I wanted to go through every echelon of this department. It means something. It's not just words. And when you fight a war the right way, the idea is on the other side you bring about peace. That is what we'd like to see the most. In fact, I once did a video about the one institution that should win the Nobel Peace Prize. every single year is the United States military, because we are the guarantor of the safety and security, not just of our country, but of a lot of people in this world. Last question. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary. I do appreciate your time. Since February 28, 725 drones and missiles have hit the Kurdistan region as your loyal ally, killing 22 people and injuring 100 others. Even after the ceasefire, Mr. Secretary, 20 more attacks were carried out. My question is, does that ceasefire include Iraq and the Kurdistan region? And really, what is your clear policy toward proxies? Why I am asking this question, by President Masoud Barzani's statement, 5 times targeting his office, even targeting President of Kurdistan region residents in the whole city.
We watch it very closely, and that area and those folks, the Kurds, deal with a lot of what the IAMGs or the proxies are capable of doing. And a reminder of the reverberating effect of this Iranian regime. It's not just what it does to its own people, killing 45,000 of its own citizens just recently, but it's also the terror they've brought to the region. And so getting a good deal and making sure they can't wield a nuclear weapon over top of those proxies is why this mission is such an important one. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
So, this is interesting. So the biggest major updates that we had from this press conference were two points. One was the ability that the United States military have in place. They now have the 3 main aircraft carriers who are now in the region, but also the US intel, thanks to obviously CIA and others, that have managed to create the preparation in terms of obviously the target list and everything else. If the IRGC don't realize that the ball is in their court, then they're going to be in trouble. So as you said, we do have the breaking news that Abbas Araghchi, the foreign minister of the Islamic Republic, has begged the Americans to come back to the negotiating table tomorrow, Saturday the 25th of April. Apparently the foreign minister will be arriving in Pakistan tonight, but again, we will wait for that to actually happen before anybody gets excited. Having said that, this doesn't necessarily mean that the Islamic Republic will definitely sign the surrender deal, because obviously it will be the end of them if they sign the deal. And if they don't sign the deal, then it will still be the end of them, but it will just going to take some time because the military operation will have to resume regardless. So obviously we will keep you guys posted with a full live coverage of the potential negotiations tomorrow, Saturday, and if something happens tonight. Roy says, hi to Donald Trump. Say something about the Falkland Islands. The only thing he said is the one we already mentioned in this live stream. Argentina has all the cards on taking the Falklands right now. Not really, because the president of Argentina, Javier Milei, is there against war. Brazil and Chile have both said that the Falklands belong to Argentina. Aron C. Tutier sending HMS Dragon to defend the Falklands. No, the Britain will not. The British government will not defend the Falkland Islands. It's not the 80s anymore, unfortunately. But Javier Milei has repeatedly said that he's not going to take the Falkland Islands by force, only through negotiation, because obviously he's a libertarian. It's not going to happen. Let's fanciful, for instance, get in the boat. Sarcasm on high this morning. I love his energy. Do they have protective belts for goats? That reminds me of that stupid question. How does it feel when you're ordered to kill? Ooh, does it feel good? Power trip. Who are those idiots? TMZ DC. On the Cisco, they found the boxes of Victoria's Secret lingerie addressed to. Greetings from Swedenstan. God bless President Trump and all you awesome and patriotic voters. Thank you so much for voting MAGA. Brilliant. Thank you, Swedenstan. And that's on the US Council. Yes, we did receive the update that Prime Minister Israel has cancer treatment prostate, I believe. So we don't know what state or what the conditions for now, but we will get more information on that.
Hi, Respect, you're right.
The latest announcement by the Secretary of War and General Payne. The two main points is that all the aircraft carriers are now in place in the Middle East on standby, and the US intel has now been completed, and they know exactly what they are supposed to be doing. They're waiting for the green light from President Trump. If these talks tomorrow don't happen, or if they happen and fail, then of course we are expecting the resumption of the military action in Iran. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm Maya Tusi, and we are the media.
Hello.
Cat food. Arriving today with Amazon Prime. That's off your mind.
Hello.
So now you can worry about something else like... Can Xavier read minds?
Hello.
All took years, decades.
Hello.
Big missions, shifting sands, little to show for it. Operation Epic Fury has been laser focused from the very start, as I said to all of you. Clear mission objectives, and ultimately
Hello.
Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. It's a bold and dangerous mission, a gift to the world, historic, courtesy of a bold and historic president. That mission continues today, in this new phase, as Iran has an important choice, a chance to make a deal, a good deal, a wise deal.
Hello. For everyone that's coming in and to come across my lives before, you can call me Animus. This is my political live to link up my political page, Goths Centrism. So this live is specifically for politics. So if you want to discuss your politics with me, see if we've got common ground, I'm quite happy to have a discussion with you. I'm not a debating political live. I'd rather speak to somebody than debate them. So you're welcome to discuss your views. If not, I've got a Q&A Saturdays and Sundays for religion, if you'd rather do that. So those are your choices today. Hi Henry, you're right.
In just a few days, but this growing blockade is also gone global. Just this week, we seized 2 Iranian dark fleet ships in the Indo-Pacific region that had left Iranian ports before the blockade went into effect.
Oh, thank you. Hi, you're right.
They did not. We seized their sanctioned ships.
Yeah, I've been okay. Yours?
More.
Hello.
The blockade is growing and going global. America's military is unmatched, projecting power, denying passage to adversaries, and protecting our interest at the time and place of our choosing. No one sails from the Strait of Hormuz to anywhere in the world without the permission of the United States.
Yes, I do.
To the regime in Tehran, the blockade.
I'm from the UK, but I am listening to American news, and I have a love-hate relationship with America.
Military, the IRGC specifically,
depending on who's running the country, is the same over here actually.
They cloak their aggression in slogans, but the world now sees them for what they are. Criminals.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do support the war in Iran.
They're acting like pirates, acting like terrorists. They're the ones who lay in
opinions of Donald Trump. I'm not a MAGA, but I do agree with some of his policies. Not all of them, some of them. As he says stupid things, yes. I'll take the mic, but yes. I do support Israel.
They're not American ships.
So I'm fine with the Palestinian people. It's Hamas that are the problem, that have caused their own people problems.
Anyone with a speedboat
and nobody wants to address this.
can do that. They know that
Because with Israel,
the United States of America
a gay person, a trans person can literally get a passport
their real navy
and be allowed in.
in the Arabian Gulf.
You go to Palestine, they'll be chucked off a roof.
For 47 years, Iran
We
has
will-
been at war with America.
So it's no brainer.
Our soldiers and our allies. While previous
If you want to live, go to Israel.
The real end of this war is the war that Iran has waged on us for 47 years. President Trump is the only president with guts and moral clarity to finally do something about it. I see it every day
Hello.
behind closed doors. President Trump's fortitude is unshakable and his mission is crystal clear. President Trump said it again yesterday. We have all the time in the world. And we're not anxious or deal. And I hear him say...
No, going back to Donald Trump, my favourite meme of his of all time is Kofefe.
As you said previously, choose
I want to make that a t-shirt. I want to make it a mug.
a nuclear weapon in meaningful and verifiable ways.
Because I'm teetotal, so I drink decaf. I'm gonna go. I have a cup of decaf Kofefe.
Of American power. A blockade as long as it takes whatever President Trump decides. Because the bottom line remains the bottom line. Iran will never get a nuclear bomb. The choice is theirs, but with this blockade, the clock is not on their side. Moreover, President Trump has authorized the United States Navy to destroy any Iranian fast boats that attempt to put mines in the water.
Yeah, the reason why I support the war in Iran is because they are getting rid of the oppressive regime that's there, and I'm all for it. I mean, Iran have been under that regime for 50 years, and it just needs to be done away with.
This should not be America's fight alone. We barely use the Strait of Hormuz as a country.
I mean, I did find out there's some dark history with America, UK. There was a huge psyop in the 60s, late 50s, early 60s, with the FBI, CIA, where they actually tried to cause mayhem by putting the Iranian version of SSS or SS, or the brown shirts. So I'm very appalled at that, but this is a very different situation.
This is much more their fight than ours.
But the one thing with that is that I found out it was actually the progressive parties on all sides that was the problem.
Our blockade is only growing and going global.
Training AI to play Pokemon. What?
The time in the
world. Why would you do that? Why?
Serious deal. And the ball is in their court. Either way, the War Department stands ready for what comes next.
I have to look into this. This is so random.
Bless our warriors each and every day, and on each and every mission. Mr. Chairman,
thank you, Mr. Secretary. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here. Today marks 55 days since the President of the United States ordered major combat operations against Iran. Today and this morning, the Joint Force remains
Okay, I'm getting bored of this now. Moving on.
To recommence major combat operations.
Up later. That's how much.
Two very short, but
Reveal your beauty with dreamy pocket plans. A powerful ionized.
Well, why would she do it? Why would you train AI to play Pokemon? I mean, how are you doing it?
Sculpt your beauty anywhere with dreamy pocket plan.
No, I have to tell my sister-in-law this. You'll probably find it cringy and funny at the same time. That's a secret. It's a secret because it's classified. This is secret project.
Nice to meet you. Take care. Look after yourself.
Hi.
Hello. Oh, sorry, I was just talking to Karen. Yeah, I don't know him. We were just having a chat.
Oh.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Yeah, thank you for letting me join you to Isle of Wight.
No, thanks.
I'm
for
London, I'm
inviting
not
me
going
to
that way.
this. Yeah, let's do it.
Are you going to see your mum?
I'm gonna see my mom.
Oh, lovely.
The honey in this green tea is not turned up. I don't know.
Oh, there you go. I've taken 3.
Nice to meet you. Have a good day.
Hello.
I'm not actually going, to be honest. I leave you at Portsmouth. How long are you going to stay?
Maybe just a couple days.
We go on here?
Yeah.
Can we talk about being in a band?
Yeah.
Just going no, lol, make it play Pokemon over and over again. That is the most randomest thing I've ever heard in my life, but it's so funny.
It was late, and so I was like, right, that's it. I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I really couldn't crack the idea of doing it.
Just be careful it doesn't have an identity crisis and thinks it's actual Pokemon.
Please, can we do these shows together? The end of like my solo career.
I'm honestly scared of the potential.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I actually found out ages ago that AI comes